counting down the days. The future feels so distant. A lot of things have changed, and few have been resistant. Is moving, and the power you misused will soon be your undoing. We'll give you what you need, though not quite what you were meaning. What you have sown, we are the song of this new machine. So lay waste to all we've made for your corporate palisade. You won't automate our roles if we digitize our souls. A new force will intervene, half human, half machine, and no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. To your empire. To your empire of steel. To your empire. So lay waste to all we've made for your corporate palisade. You won't automate our roles if we digitize our souls. A new force will intervene, half human, half machine, and no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. To your empire of steel. To your empire of steel. I'm counting down the days. The future feels so distant. A lot of things have changed, and few have been resistant. Devaluation reigns, and fear of self-destruction. Adapt to be replaced, and follow their instructions. So lay
Happy Tuesday, everybody. And once again, I'm exactly on time. How cool is that? I'm perfectly 100% on time. No matter what anyone says, I'm 100% on time. In fact, 100% on time. That was me using neuro-linguistic programming to manipulate your mind. I am on time. I'm never late. Yes, Andy, you're never late. In fact, yeah, I'm never late. I'm always on time. You agree? Fuck, how do I stop the zooming in? There we go. Hello, Fatima. Hello, Tony. One of these days, I'm going to be on time. It's because this studio is not where I'm living, and that's just a bit annoying. It's like on the other side of the city. It's still central, but I mean, it's still having to get in a taxi, come here. For some reason, I still underestimate how long it takes to set everything up and get everything in the right place and get everything ready. But I'm getting there. Let me turn this volume down a touch. I think that's a good volume. Right there, I think. Netbroker, hi all, and no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. Yeah. There you go. You guys all know the words now. When I was searching for the theme tune, hey Chris, I mean I wasn't actively at the time searching for the theme tune. I was actually listening to this. What is it? I'll show you. To this thing. This is an application called Soundtrack from Twitch, and it's music that has, like, the people who've put themselves forward to feature in these playlists have said, yeah, you can stream the music. You can't, like, well, you can't record it or something like that, but we can play it on the stream. So I was just listening to this, and this track came up by this band called, is it Essenger? I put it on my the intro screen in the top left there. Yeah, it's Essenger in the top, just up there. Essenger, Empire of Steel, and it wasn't that tune, but it was a song called After Dark that was by that band, and I thought, oh, this is cool. This is very kind of cool. So I downloaded the album from, what's the website? I think it's called, I should probably anyway, if you search for the band and it comes up and you can buy their music. And so I bought it, and I bought this one, and I found this one track, Empire of Steel, and I thought, that is cool. Very futuristic, a little bit dystopian, but it had a ray of hope in it. It sounded rebellious, right? And so I thought it'd be perfect for this stream. And I've included the name of the band and the song, so when you Google it, you can go and purchase it. So it's hopefully, if the owners of that music find the stream, they'll be okay with it, because I think they're a small band or a small guy or whatever it is, and hopefully we'll see. I'm not trying to nick it. I'm just I'm like, I'm trying to promote it. I'm like, there it is, music, Essenger, Empire Still, go grab it. Scott says, "What's up, King Silvers?" That broke a great, meaningful song. The lyrics say it all about the times we're living in. Yeah. No enterprise on earth will make us kneel to. I can't even remember the tune. And no enterprise on earth will make us kneel to your empire of steel. Yeah, man, exactly. It's like my favorite band. Probably won't be a surprise to you, given that song is Muse. Muse is my favorite band of all time, and they've got a few songs that have the same kind of feel to that. There was one called there was a recent one called what's it called? Compliance. And there was one, let me find it. What was it called? No, in fact, I'm not going to waste time finding it. Anyway, there's a few songs, and it's that kind of rebellious. It's like that fuck you to the system. It's like, I won't listen to you. You can't control me. It kind of goes back to Pink Floyd and Another Brick. What's that? Is it called A Brick in the Wall? Leave them kids alone. Another break. It's that kind of, that kind of recognizing that, the oppressive grip of society and culture and the state trying to stifle individuality and consolidate power and gain control over the individual. And then there's this counter force. It's like, fuck you, man. And it's the source of the I think the source. It's like the energy of the hero. The hero isn't amongst the stormtroopers in the Empire. The hero is the one that is going against the tyranny. Yeah. So anyway, I heard that in that song, and I thought that was kind of very, very cool. And that kind of flows quite nicely into the theme of today's Decentralist. I'm going to carry on, continue on from what I was talking about briefly yesterday. Yesterday I was kind of stifled again because I was late. I've just kind of accepted that I tend to be fucking late starting at the moment, and blah blah blah, excuse, and I'm not happy with it. But I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. We're moving apartment, me and my some friends. We were looking at apartments today, and whenever I'm getting over here, I don't factor in the taxis being late or there's traffic, and then I get here and I think, I'm going to have a quick bite to eat before I start the stream, and blah 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 blah, and then before you know it, it's like, shit, I'm late again. So, but yeah, I was a little bit because I wanted to be on time yesterday, so I was like a bit stifled, hadn't really prepared for the live stream. So I touched upon the idea of a decentralist yesterday, or the direction we're taking it in. But I want to talk about it a little bit more on the stream. We are going to look at Bitcoin on the stream. We do it every stream. But I want to open the floor a little bit and see what you guys think of something a bit more, more of specific ideas of where I want to take Decentralists. And then see what you guys think, and I'm open to ideas as well. What day is it? It's Tuesday today, so we've got tomorrow and Thursday left for the week. And at some point in the future, I might even add more days. I might do Sundays. We'll see. But for now, I've definitely made the good decision by starting off with something I know 100% I can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then if I need to, I've got Friday off. And, I say off, I'm always working. But it means I can just focus on work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's quite nice, actually. And that might change in the future once I get really settled and organised. I might actually, because I really enjoy this. This isn't work to me. The setting up and the preparing and everything around it is work, but I still enjoy that. But this is fun. I'm really liking this. It's really, really cool. I'm very much enjoying this. And a little moment yesterday, you might have been watching now. A little moment, had somebody join the community, message me saying that they found this stream yesterday. YouTube just presented, the streams to this random person. He loved it. He joined the community, messaged me, and I thought, that's nice. That's kind of cool. Just streaming. I mean, pretty much all you guys, I recognize all you guys, Tony, Fatima, Netbroker, Scott, you guys are in, you've been in the community for a while. You're on the Wave Council Immersion course. So, but to have someone find me randomly on YouTube from this stream, like it and join the community, I'm like, wicked. I want that times 100,000. Shit, my phone's going off. It's all the way over there charging. Let me put it on silent so it doesn't keep going off. One sec. Oh. Boom, there we go. I think everyone's on YouTube. Oh no, we've got most people on YouTube, and there's like one person on Twitch. I think that's Fatima. Fatima's on Twitch. Oh no, we've got some people on Rumble as well. How many people have got on Rumble? We have 5 people on Rumble. Well, no, technically I think I count. I'm watching myself on Rumble. So we've got 4 people on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, come and say hello. Go in the chat and say hello so I can see you. The most active people we get in the chat are on YouTube and Twitch, but that's because you're in the community, and you Rumblers maybe aren't in the community yet. Do me a favor, whether you're on Rumble, Twitch, or YouTube, smash the like button in the face. Hit the follow, subscribe, like, all that juicy stuff. If you like my my face, and I've got this like monster sitting on the side of my face today, so that's my mascot today. Okay, so I'll go into this a little bit, and then we can talk about Bitcoin. We can talk about the imminent collapse of the entire financial system. Oh joy! And to be honest, it all ties in together. Like the financial crash of 2008 is arguably the thing, or one of the things that motivated the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto to write the Bitcoin white paper. The first Bitcoin block that was the Genesis Bitcoin block had encoded into it the headline of, I believe it was a Washington Post or was it a New York Times headline that talked about the bailout, the government bailout of the banks. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. In other words, it shows you that Bitcoin was it stemmed out of the outrage. I'm going over here, by the way, because I've got my microphone and my little tiny comedy keyboard, which folds away, by the way. It's just over here. So Bitcoin was a product of the rage, the sort of the cypher punk underground kind of scene. Had it just the outrage of these banks making these extreme risks and profiting from these extreme risks. And when the huge risks they were taking with other people's money collapsed, the government came in and bailed them out with people's money, with taxpayer money. And so the outrage of that, like the injustice of that, clearly outraged whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is, whether it's a person or a group of people. Nobody knows. Bitcoin. In fact, I'll take you guys with me. Bitcoin oh god, I think I'm dyslexic. Genesis, is it? That's it, right? Genesis block message. There we go. Scott, you're in there. Thanks, man. That's right there. Wicked. Scott says the time. So yeah, it literally, the message was the Times. The Times paper. 3rd of January 2009. Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. Right. So that's encoded in the Genesis block of Bitcoin. And so that's what's kind of sort of magical about Bitcoin, the fact that it encoded in the very first block is a message that says this is why this needs to exist. This is why Bitcoin is not just necessary but inevitable. If you're an optimist, you believe that human civilization is slowly moving towards more justice. If you're a pessimist, you think that's not the case, or maybe you're more you think that life goes through cycles, right? If you follow the Hindu cycle of reality, I think they have these I think they call them these epochs or something, and they last like thousands of years. You guys know anything about this? And there's the I can't remember if it's an epoch. It's called something. It's like a certain thousands of years, and some people think we're going through the time of Kali right now, the time of chaos. And so maybe you think life goes through cycles of progressing towards more justice, and then you experience, like the Hindus do, like a golden age where it's all just justice and light and beauty and stuff, and then it just starts to lead to fucking chaos, and then it comes back around. So maybe you're like that, and I think, to be honest, that seems more realistic than just we're getting ever more progressively. And you look back in history, there are the tales of Atlantis and the golden age there's different golden ages and all these different like rises and falls of society. So I think it's more like that. I think that society just goes through, the world goes through cycles of greatness and corruption, and it doesn't feel like we're at the moment heading towards more justice and more light and everything else. It doesn't feel like that. But ultimately, I am an optimist. But I think that Bitcoin is a response, a reaction to this event, where the banks gambled with depositors' money to profit themselves. It's not like the depositors were getting the profits from that, to profit themselves. And when they fucked up, the government came in and just gave them loads of everyone else's money, which is the tax money. Just gave them the money. Said, "Oh, never mind." And so the Bitcoin was a response to that. It was like a fuck you. Here's what I think needs to exist to counter that, to replace this fucked up system. And this is one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of cryptocurrency, the movement of decentralization. And so here we are again, and it looks like we're on the brink of what some people think is going to be the biggest banking crisis that has ever existed. And it would coincide with the idea that's also mirrored by lots of people that talk about, like Ray Dalio talks about money cycles or business cycles, and he thinks that we have like the smaller cycles have all kind of culminated. We're now kind of at a big cycle, the end of a big cycle, and the last big cycle apparently was the American Great Depression. And then if you've read a book called The Fourth Turning, it talks about how every generation is kind of shaped in terms of personality, the kind of society it is, by the previous one, and it creates this kind of cycle where this begets this, and it's like, and the people, the generations. I'm going to try. In fact, I can find this for you, so I don't just randomly just say nonsense out of my mouth, which I'm very good at. Fourth Turning cycles. Here we go. And so there's this great book, by the way, by Strauss. It's by two people, I think. Yeah, Strauss and Howe, these two people, that's their surnames. So I think, yeah, so we go. The High, Awakening, Unraveling, and Crisis. And guess which one we're in now. And they wrote this book in the 90s, and it basically documents the history. They use America as the focus, but they argue this is just the cyclic nature of society. And the Civil War was a crisis. The Second World War was a crisis, and now it's the next one. So I think I've missed one out, but those were crises. And then following a crisis is the high, where everything is kind of on the way up and everyone's optimistic. And then the awakening is like the peak of that. And then the unraveling, it calls it, and then it leads into a crisis. And this was written in the 90s, and then they predicted that around this time, around 2020, that's when the next crisis would start. Now, the concerning thing is that every crisis they document has had more blood and death. The only difference being that this crisis, there are nuclear weapons. There is the what's that phrase? Mutually assured destruction. So there's the mutually assured destruction game theory element. That is, I mean, who knows what would happen? Who knows? That's kind of impossible to predict. But so there's this as well, and this is a great book, by the way. The Fourth Turning. I highly recommend it. That was it. Yeah, it's called. The book is called An American Prophecy. That's it. So The Fourth Turning, An American Prophecy. Highly recommended by William Strauss and Neil Howe, and it was written in 1997, right? And so 25 years ago, and it predicted the chaos that we're in now. And so if I go to the actual Wikipedia page, it should have. So there's the high, the awakening, the unraveling, and the crisis. I'm going to read this actually because it's really well. I won't read all of it. and it talks about so that the generation, depending on how old you are, in that time depends on whether you are a prophet, a nomad, a hero, and an artist. It's so fascinating. It's so fascinating, and I'm the nomad, because I'm a I'm a millennial. God, so if you go into, if you've got the book, it actually has these like tables, and it kind of shows you. Here we go. So look, these are the timing, generations, and turnings. So crisis. Okay, so look at this. You had the War of the Roses in 1459 to 1487, and that was yes, the War of the Roses in England. And then you had the Armada crisis, where we beat the Spanish. That was crazy. Say like I remember it. I remember I remember the Armada. Yeah. That was the next fourth turning. That was like 97 years after. This is 97 years. This whole period. So it's not exact, but it's approx. And then this was 100 years, and then that culminated in what's called the Glorious Revolution. And then the next sort of cycle was 90 years, and that culminated in the Age of Revolution. And then there was another 71 years, and that culminated in the American Civil War. And then another 81 years, and that culminated in the Great Depression and World War II, right? And then 77 years later, look at this, fourth turning, Great Recession, COVID-19 pandemic recession, Russia-Ukrainian war, and we're just in it. We're just in it. And apparently, according to this, it started in 2005. So, like I said, there's nuclear weapons now. So who knows what's going to happen? There's also AI, is the burgeoning AI. I mean, I tell you what, if you believe that we choose our incarnations before being born, we definitely chose an interesting one, didn't we? We were like looking through the catalogue of life and going like, that's interesting. Yeah, Armada, that sounds fun. Yeah. Nah, skip forward a bit. Oh, this one looks crazy. AI, COVID. Yeah. Oh, Bitcoin. Yeah. Cool. Hop me in. Jump in. So I was going somewhere with this. Okay, so if we are going to see the largest banking crisis the world has ever seen, like I saw a post, therefore it's true. I saw a tweet from someone. Andy, where'd you get your news? I saw a tweet from somebody who said that if there was just if 2% of depositors went to get their money back, just a 2% bank run, the entire banking system would collapse. I just read a tweet. It doesn't mean anything. It could just be a tweet. He had a blue check mark, but that doesn't mean anything anymore, does it? You can buy that. So it doesn't mean anything. It's probably not even true. But if that is true, that is fucking insane. Anyway, if, like the talking heads that I seem to follow on YouTube and stuff, if they are correct, and this is the beginning of the greatest banking collapse the world has ever seen, what is that going to do to people's psychology, to people's... There is a lot of people who have they go through their life with absolute full trust in government, in that chirpy voice on the radio. Good morning, welcome to 95.2, and today in the traffic, and blah blah blah. And they kind of come along, and everything's rosy, and they kind of live, I think, in this delusional bubble, in a kind of a Truman show, Good morning, welcome to 95.2, and today in everything's fine. Don't you follow those conspiracy theories, those wacky tinfoil hat wearing lunatics. Everything's fine. Trust your government. Go to work. Be happy. I think there's a lot of people that live inside that little cocoon, and what's about to transpire is gonna kick them out of that delusion pretty damn fast, and it's going to be insane for them. I mean, it's going to be very, very traumatic. It's like suddenly realizing that the father figure that has been bringing you up your entire life is a fucking arsehole and a lunatic, and he's been stealing your money this whole time. And fucking your girlfriend. I mean, it's going to be crazy. But anyway, so if Bitcoin was the one of the technological reactions to the last financial crisis, or the way, at least the way it was handled, the way that the government just bailed them out with public money. Because people seem to have a disassociation between the public money and the money they use to pay their taxes. It's their money, like it's anyway. And so I think the reaction to this is going to be a lot stronger, and we don't know where the energy is going to go. And so, bringing this back to what we're doing here with the Decentralists, this is my reaction to everything in the world. Like, look, if we lived in, I love Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie, probably, like the series, because the mythology in the book, the deep archetypal characters and narratives. If we lived in Gondor, in a golden age of Gondor, or post Return of the King, where King Aragorn becomes king, and that is like happily ever after. The age of the king is all order. It's like at the end of Lion King when Simba becomes a king, and all the trees grow back, and the sun comes out, or the rain comes in, and everything's great. If we lived in a centralized system where the peak, the head of that pyramid was just and good and righteous, which is, I think, something that I believe we all deeply desire. We all yearn for a true king. And this is why I think those kinds of movies, like, to the degree they are successful, they tap into something. And this is why they're archetypal. They tap into a deep yearning we all have, I think, to live under a righteous, true, great king, like an archetypal king. And I think this is where we used to live a life where we lived a life kind of in servitude of our religious deity. We used to live our life in accordance with something higher and greater than us that we try to do our best to be worthy of, right? And when Nietzsche famously proclaimed that God is dead, we killed him, and he said something like, there won't be enough, but the amount of blood, there will be rivers of blood and all this kind of stuff. In other words, without that kind of, actually, I'm not going to attempt to say, well, this is what Nietzsche thought. I haven't read into it enough. But now in replace of that, this is like, celebrity culture, to try and replace that missing thing that we crave above us. And for those who are kind of egotists or narcissists, they might go, no one's above me. It's like, I think that's not true. Of course there is. Unless we are fucking perfect and we're amazing, and come on, that's like, we're just human beings. We're flawed in all kinds of ways. And so I think that we all crave that something which is greater than us, something we can be in awe of, and we can try our best to be in service of that greater thing. I feel that, and maybe some people will disagree, but maybe I'm just projecting my own ideas onto everyone else. And if we lived inside that society, then I wouldn't have called this stream The Decentralist, because I would have no desire to decentralize. Why would I decentralize? Why would I change my focus away from this glorious centralized godhead to which I can just be of service in any way I can? But unfortunately, we do not live in a society like that. Unfortunately, who's that fucking prime minister we have? I'm sorry, he's not quite Aragorn. Prime Minister. What's that guy's name? I don't even know his name. That's what I'm talking about. Prime Minister UK. Rooney Shunnick or something. Just tell me if this guy inspires Aragorn vibes. This is the King of England. This is our Aragorn. Everyone, my king. I don't mean actual king, like, King Charles. I mean like the king. We should live in service. Nope. And so we don't live inside this magical, beautiful, archetypal, centralized, monarchy, or at least mythological monarchy, in which the greatest thing we can do is be in service to this thing, this energy, this pinnacle of greatness. And so the solution to that is decentralization. The only solution to that is decentralization. Like, at the risk of sounding slightly well-read, which is not true, I've read like 2/3 of a book called the Leviathan by Hobbes. Who's that political philosopher? Someone help me out. Someone Hobbes. Was it Thomas Hobbes? There's someone out there who's more well-read than me. Was it Thomas Hobbes? Someone help me out quick. And he in that book he laid out his. It was during the wars between the parliamentarians and the royalists. Was that the Rose Wars that we mentioned before? I wish I was more well read. I knew more history. But anyway, I know it was a war between the parliamentarians and the royalists. And essentially, the royalists, as the name suggests, they believed in the monarchy, right? And the parliamentarians, they believed in a parliamentary democracy. They believed that whether it was through some kind of virtue or they just wanted to seize power, I don't know the true history. But essentially, it was a war between those who wanted a king or a queen. They wanted they supported, was it one of the King Charleses? I can't remember. And then the parliamentarians. And the parliamentarians obviously won the day, I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously, we know that they won in the end. I'm pretty sure they won. But he was arguing in favour. This whole war was going on during the time of when he was writing this book, and he was basically defending the royalists. And his argument was essentially the base state, the natural default state of human beings is basically war and dog eat dog and the law of the jungle kind of thing. And his argument is that the law of the jungle is so bad. No one can relax, no one can be happy, no one can thrive, and it's all about just trying not to die and have things stolen from you, and it's just a terrible state to live. And so his argument was that a structured a monarchy, a centralized head, whether you call it a king, a pharaoh, a dictator, whatever it is so much better than a tyrant. His argument was that you should whether that leader is a figurehead or an assembly of people, whatever it is, you should always accept it and not fight against it. You should never rebel or revolt, because the risk is that you will revert back to the chaos. And that was his essential argument. So in the Leviathan, the head of this Leviathan, you should always respect it, even if it becomes tyrannical. That was his. I'm probably I'm definitely missing out probably loads of his argument. I really hope there's some more well-read people here who could be like, actually, Andy, I think it was Thomas Hobbes. For some reason that rings a bell. Thomas Hobbes. Yes, I got it right. Look at me. Thomas Hobbes, English philosopher. Yeah, it was written back in 1588. No, that's when he was born, sorry. But yeah, around that time. Was English philosopher Hobbes is best known for his 1651 book Leviathan, in which he expounds, here we go, an influential formulation of social contract theory. Okay, that's the more clever way of saying it. In addition to political philosophy, Hobbes... Oh, God. Let me see if I can sort of... Yeah. Come on. Political theory. Leviathan sets out his doctrine of the foundation of states and legitimate governments and creating an objective science of morality. Much of the book is occupied with demonstrating the necessity of a strong central authority to avoid the evil of discord and civil war. Cool. So basically I remembered correctly. And now I've got to remember why I even brought that up. Okay. Well, the reason why I read this book was because I printed out a list of political philosophy books that in order of when they were printed, because I wanted to kind of map out the story of Enlightenment ideas. And I didn't get very far because I don't know, life gets busy. It's like we all make plans. Like, I'm going to learn piano. I'm going to learn this language. And you start and you're excited, and then just stuff happens and you stop doing it. But I've still got this list somewhere in my Google Docs. And this was one of the earlier ones. Plato's Republic is one of the early ones. There was literally a book that was the first one, I think, called Utopia, that was written in like the 1400s. And anyway, I wanted to follow the story of how the ideas of the Enlightenment, where they came from, because every author, every philosopher is building on the ideas of those that came before him. And so I wanted to be able, because when you get into the political philosophy of decentralization, it's building on a intellectual structure that goes back into antiquity. And so I wanted to, and I still want to understand that journey, and so then I can not sound like an idiot when I'm talking about it. Wikipedia. It's JT Dickman. Good username on Rumble. Thomas Hobbes. Thank you, man. Yeah. So we got it in the end. And so this book, although I agree with him that a dictator in some ways is better than a perpetual state of civil war, but his ideas were way before the ideas that led to the foundation of America. And so I think that now because any kind of political philosophy, usually a political philosophy is born out of frustration of an existing older system, that the way you see all the flaws, and then you think you've got the solution. Like Karl Marx's book, which I haven't read his book, but I've seen loads of people comment on his book, and obviously he's responding to the flaws that he sees in capitalism, right? And so I think that what is about to unfold with the financial system, and there are innumerable people that are about to lose a lot of money, and so there's going to be a response to that. And hopefully that response hasn't already been kind of anticipated, and they're ready to shape it, manipulate it as they see fit. Well, I'm sure they are going to do that. But hopefully it's kind of like in the Matrix. There will be people that will, recognize that they're in the Matrix, or they'll have the opportunity to break out. They'll be given the choice, choose the red pill or the blue pill. Choose the blue pill. You wake up and you go to sleep and something happens. Take the red pill. You get the idea. So there'll be a lot of people taking the red pill. And so here we are with this little tiny show, The Decentralist. And I think that a response to the inherent corrupting the inherent corruption that happens in any centralized system, and I touched on this yesterday, it seems to me it is inevitable that in a centralized system you will eventually, unless there are checks and balances, like for example, in a hypothetical capitalist system, I'm talking about hypothetical, in which there are no ways in which any particular actor in that capitalist system, no business or individual, has the ability to cheat in any way. They can't lobby a Congress or lobby those in power in order to get favors or to have regulations. Let's say there's a computer game and you can eliminate all that, and all you can do is try to create a better product or service to meet people's needs, all that kind of stuff. Then in that kind of game, in that kind of enclosed game theory environment, this is like the proponents of capitalism, of which I am one. It has produced the greatest level of like the living standards the world has ever created. It's not perfect, by the way, and I'll get to that in a second. Inside an enclosed game theory system where there was no other way to game the system, the only way that you could excel, the only way that you could win in that game theory environment was to produce a better product or service. And if another person comes up and they invent a product which is, they can produce it more cheaper, they can help somebody in a better way, they can solve another need, then they will then the ones that can't do that will die out, and the ones that can will thrive. And so that's like the pro argument of a capitalist society. However, and I've had this argument with a friend who is a I think they call it an anarcho-capitalist. Maybe some of you guys know what that means, or maybe there's an anarcho-capitalist out there. And an anarcho-capitalist, I believe, is essentially capitalism where there is no state. It's just kind of businesses dog eat dog, something like that. Now, the reason why I think that's incredibly naive is because just look what's happening in the world with Big Pharma. Look what's happening in the world with the industrial, what was it? The industrial war complex, or was it weapons complex? What was that phrase? The industrial military complex, right? And so if a organization, a group, a company, a business, an industry exists, and let's say, which platforms am I not allowed to, you know who's in power by those you can't talk about. So I think that'd be like a badge of honor the first time I get kicked off a platform by telling the truth, or what I think is the truth. So let's say you've got a big industry that profits from people being unwell because they sell drugs to make people well. Well, then there is a huge multi-billion-dollar incentive to maybe do things, to make decisions, to, they don't want people to be well, because then they wouldn't have any customers. If you have an industry that profits from conflict, then you're not incentivized to create peace. And so if you have a system where the incentives are purely monetary, which is, capitalism, then there are going to be areas of capitalism where it's not going to be in our best interest. Like the most profitable thing for a pharmaceutical industry would be to make every single human being alive have to outsource their immune system to big pharma, where they, in order to have an immune system, they had to rely on certain products. And if that was the objective of big pharma, then that would be the most profitable business endeavor they could ever do. But I'm just saying, Andy, that's crazy. But the incentives there, multi-billion-dollar incentive. So does that mean I'm not a capitalist? I am a capitalist, but do I have the solutions? Hell no, I don't have the solutions. But there is one thing I do think that definitely would improve the world, and that is on an individual level all the way up to organizations and to government. Decentralization is a good thing. It's a good thing in areas where there is the most opportunity, the most danger, I should say, for corruption. And I say danger because there's some areas where corruption, like, who cares? It doesn't affect us, let's say. If a particular company gets corrupt within that company, then it dies out. Another company will take their place. It doesn't affect us. A company should look after itself and organize itself however it wants. And this is the kind of the beauty of capitalism. And this is why a company is a centralized structure, with the let's say the CEO, the executive team, and the managers, and etc. And that's the most efficient. That's the only. There have been experiments out there that but the most efficient structure in order to get shit done and to react fast is a structure of like a pyramid structure with the CEO, the executives, etc. Because if you have a slower structure, a more democratic structure, you'll be outcompeted by the other businesses that are like go 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 go. And this is why, like, the fascist dictator kind of countries, you've seen like the shit, like you've seen maybe the videos that come from China of all the organization and people in lockstep and all kind of doing as they're told and everything else, and it's kind of scary. But you try getting us to do that in a democratic, so we're like, I'm not fucking doing that, you know what I mean? And I prefer this system, but I'm saying, like, they can get shit done. Does that lead to more justice? Does it lead to creativity and poetry and movies and art? No. But at least some leader who decides what has to happen, that shit gets done. And so if there was a global conflict like a World War III, the ones with the most powerful economies would have and obviously the greatest weapons, I suppose, would have the chance. But in terms of people, the ones that were the most obedient to the leader would be pretty fucking scary. And so if you've got a competing businesses with each other, the ones that are in that sort of pyramid structure, that's the most efficient way of getting shit done. The leader, if he's a good leader, like, is there because of his competence and his ability to know what to do and what orders to give. And so that's the only structure. So a company needs to be centralized, right? But when we start to get away from that kind of competing company, and you start to get into politics, and you start to get into finance, value, which is where we start to enter into the realm of like Bitcoin and stuff. This is where I think the decentralization is such a powerful idea. With decentralization, you could make it so that vote fraud is impossible. You could make it so that government structures were structured in such a way where corruption was impossible. There's so many exciting things about decentralization. Now, that's at the big thing. We can touch upon that in terms of ideas and stuff like that. But what's the point in just about chatting about ideas on an individual level? I'll come to the chat in a second, guys. JT Dickman again on Rumble says checks and balances that you can't vote around it. I think you're talking about the checks and balances that the founders of America tried to put in place with the different branches of government. That was an attempt at decentralizing power, because they recognized that even though they themselves had the good intentions to create a great nation and a new type of experiment in self-governance, they knew that human beings were flawed. And whether it was the next president or the next one or the next one, however many generations in the future, they tried to build a government system that was robust enough to protect itself against the inevitable tyrannical president or politicians that were going to try and take over the country. And so that was their attempt with the way they set that up. And so let's go back to the individual level now of what, like, me doing this live stream with the Decentralist. I think in order for us to have to navigate what's coming, right, in this with the biggest financial crash the world has ever seen. Apparently, I'm not an expert, but that's what a lot of people are saying, and the ramifications of that in terms of global trade, the economy, jobs, the standard of living, and who knows what's going to happen with this war between, at the moment, Russia and NATO proxy. China's coming in and saying they're partnering up with Russia and things. So who knows, man? Is this going to lead to World War III? Who knows? Probably in some sense. But this world we're leading into, what can we do as an individual? Well, I believe the best thing we can do for ourselves, for our families, for people that we love, in order to position ourselves properly, is that we need to become decentralists, right? If our whole life is reliant on a single node, like decentralization in a distributed ledger technology, like a network of like nodes where there's no single point of failure. So if you get all of your income from one node, right? That's one node of failure. If you are bound to the jurisdiction of one country, if you have one passport, right? If all of your money is in one bank, if all of your assets are protected by one nation, if you only know people in one social circle, in one industry, in one country, if you only speak to people who get their news from one news source, if you only get your news from one news source, your entire existence hangs on a thread, right? Each pillar of your life, your finances, your sense of connection, your very your belief system, all is controlled by a single node. And whether those are nodes that can fail, or whether those are nodes where you are controlled. So you get your entire news from one news source, and you don't listen to the other side. You don't listen to other opinions. You are locked in an ideological prison. You are in danger, and you're in danger, either actual danger, economic danger, or just like the the insane trouble that is coming when your belief system, what you believe to be true, those who you trust, when that all collapses on you. And as Jordan Peterson says, when what you expect to happen on the deepest profound level collapses under you, you enter, he calls it the underworld. You fall into the underworld where you do not know what is up and what is down, right? Your God, which could be your president, your tribe that you're in, the political affiliations, whatever, when that falls away and you're just plunged into chaos, like, you know, I don't envy you. And how did you let that happen? You were living a life where you were trusting single nodes. And so I think we all need to become decentralists. We all need to decentralize, right? And this is what I touched on yesterday, and now I'm kind of like sort of sharing a bit more in it properly today. And so what we've been sort of leading with, which is crypto trading, looking at financial markets, understanding understanding patterns in crypto markets, not just crypto markets, but financial markets, the patterns that emerge from crowd psychology. And then if you're on the course, in the academy, then the market geometry that price action responds to. Why are we doing that? Not because we love crypto. I mean, I do, but why? Because it is a potential vehicle to freedom. It's a potential vehicle to decentralize our reliance on any single centralized income source. If we can just open our laptop, connect to Wi-Fi, and extract money from crypto markets, and we have that knowledge and power, that's not even one node. Every single exchange is a node. Once we understand how to use decentralized exchanges, we have multiple nodes through which we can earn an income, and crypto is just one piece. And this is something that is, I suppose, a new broadening shift in what we're eventually going to be doing with the Decentralists. I see my vision for the Decentralists is destination freedom. And at the very start of the wave counting immersion course that I created, in the very first video, I said that my North Star has always been freedom. Everything I do, all the way back, like I mentioned in the description of this live stream, everything I do, ever since getting constant detentions at school for misbehaving and not listening to the teacher, has always been seeking more freedom. And so the thing I do the most, that brings me the most joy, the thing that I do and lose track of time doing, is I'm always learning something that is in service of giving me more freedom. And the past business I had was a self-development company that taught people what I had learnt, but not just what I had learnt. In the process of learning it, I'd made my own connections, discovered my own learning, teaching models, and I'd actually created something a lot like something novel that was an improvement on what I had learned, and then I was teaching that. And that's exactly what I want to do with the Decentralists. We're starting off with crypto trading, crypto investing. This is kind of what I've spent the last, I got into it in 2016. So since then I've been obsessing over it, but that's not the box that we're going to remain in. Decentralist is bigger than that. Decentralist is, at the moment, this is the focus, using crypto as a potential vehicle to decentralize our online income streams. But the vision I've got for the future of Decentralist is every aspect, every possible way that we can become more free. So whether this is not whether this is something I'm going to learn how to do myself based on my own interest in it, or we end up partnering with people who are experts. I can imagine inside our academy, we're going to have courses on investing in real estate, how to diversify assets into different countries so that you're protecting your assets, how to get different passports, get different residencies in different countries, and every single possible way that you can diversify your income online. Whether that's something, again, that I like, for example, like Amazon drop shipping, how to sell things on Amazon. I probably won't do that myself. I don't feel like that's an interest right now. So if we do that, we'll partner with somebody who's sold multiple millions selling products in online stores. You get the idea. Like, there is an abundance, there is an infinite abundance. There's so many different ways this can happen. And so this is my vision for Decentralists. And I've got a sort of a graphic I've been putting together, which is kind of partly just for my kind of, you know, inspiring me, just kind of, I always start like my things visually. And so I'll show this to you quickly. It should work. Oh, stopped working. Hang on, give me a second. And basically, okay, I'll just explain to you. There's basically 4 pillars I'm thinking of. One is global citizenship. Let's put that back. There we go. One is global citizenship. And this is essentially the kind of life that I've been living the last 10 years. How to live a nomadic life if you choose. How to not be, again, moving away from centralization, not having to rely on having to exist within the legal, political, cultural jurisdiction and kind of enclosure of a particular nation. The world is your oyster. So global citizenship. And I've got here income diversification. Is that going to work now? Nah, it's not working. Bollocks. Income diversification, of which we are focused right now on crypto trading. Wealth protection. So once you succeed in this and in becoming financially free like this, where do you put your money? Is it safe 100% of it in this bank? Probably not. How to diversify to protect the fruits of your labor. And then lastly, but by no means least, is going to be a high value network. A high value network. And this is why I'm calling it Decentralists with an S, plural, rather than just Decentralist. Because they say your net worth is your network. Building an international community, a network of freedom seekers and people who are at every point of the journey, from the beginning to people who they are goals. They've got the whole thing done. I'm not fucking at the end. I'm still on my journey. And so this is what I want to do with Decentralists. And so if you guys want to join me, I want to have Decentralists as this is the core, this is the values, this is the direction, this is the vision. And so the community, which is currently kingsilver.network, is going to be Decentralists. And it's probably going to be decentralist.network. It might be, you know, a .com, but it's going to be Decentralist. And then the King Silver platform, which is still like the most exciting thing that I can possibly work on, is its own thing, which makes sense, I think, because I was trying to sort of wrap the community around King Silver, and I don't think it's a perfect fit. Because King Silver is the perfect name for a cryptocurrency, for a stable coin, for a DeFi platform. It's perfect for that. But, what I think unites us, anyone who is interested in what I'm talking about in this live stream, in what I've just said, they want to be part of that. It's because I think that you mirror my concerns about what's happening in the world, and you share my vision for what kind of future that you want. You also want to become a decentralist, and you want to become free. And so let me know what you guys think in the chat. That's where I think I want to take, that's where 100% I want to take this. And so then King Silver is the first platform that, the first users of that platform are going to be us, the Decentralists. And then there might be other platforms and all like I've got visions where I want to create a global ecosystem of co-living spaces where we can go and travel to and work and live. That's a cool idea I've got. And so there'll be all kinds of different projects and things that will come out of a community of an international community of freedom seekers. And the first of those projects is King Silver, and that's that hasn't changed. So God, that was a massive rant today. That was like, it's 20 past 9 my time, and I think I started about 20 past 8. So have I been ranting for 1 hour? That's the biggest rant I think I've done so far. Yay me. Oh, no, wrong button. I think sound effects only work if you play them immediately when you wanna, when they make sense. I don't know how loud it is for you guys. For me, it's just the right volume. Okay, so I'll go to the chat. I was looking at the Rumble chat. Now I'll look at what you guys are saying. Gorick says Kali Yugi, an age of quarrel. Oh, so Kali Yugi. So there's people who think that we are in Kali Yugi right now. This is the Hindu age, right? So the age of quarrel, hypocrisy, and lies, pollution, etc. I mean, doesn't that feel like what we're in? Like, you look at the news, you look at the TV, and like, I'll go on the BBC not to see what's going on in the world, but just to see what certain power centers want us to believe is going on in the world, you know. And so, and you listen to any politician, I don't know, man, it's, you know, there are certain people in the world that you think, okay, I think this person is, they're either trying to do good things or they're very good at pretending that they're trying to do good things, and it's who can tell. And Tony says, yeah, Rishi Sunak, we found his name. Scott says, what do you think the timeline for this traditional finance crash? Again, I'm the wrong person to ask. If I say something, it's because I saw someone else say it in a video. And so there's people saying that over, like, it's going to be like the next few months, like the next 6 months, 4 months, something like that. But I don't know. It's not like, oh, I've done my research. I'm a trained macro economist. Like, no. There's a few people I watch on YouTube. So I would research. Don't listen to me. I don't know. Tony says totally. Marcus says I want freedom. Chris says sounds great. Jif Jenner, I definitely want freedom. I just wonder about the collective and about cooperation, the collective and cooperation and care. Well, this is where the final pillar comes in, the high value network. Because again, we don't want to live as like isolated nomads. We want to have our tribe, and so I want to build that tribe, and this is what I'm doing. I'm not saying this isn't a cult. I'm not saying abandon all your family and friends. That's what cults do. I'm just saying I want to build an a huge international network of people who want more independence and more freedom. And that doesn't mean, like, again, being a nomad, going like this is why I don't want to use language like escape the matrix, because it's a bit too black and white, you know. Just leave your friends and family in the matrix? No, I just mean you want to attain more freedom and security for yourself, right? Jifton says, I think the political focus might turn people off, but freedom is more cross-ideology. Yeah, I don't want the centralists to be political. Like, notice I haven't kind of mentioned any particular party or kind of or leanings. It's just the political philosophy of decentralism, not that I'm an expert by any means, is almost, it's just like I think it's kind of, there's like a realism to it. It's understanding that centralized systems lean towards tyranny, and this is something that Jordan Peterson says, although he hasn't talked about decentralism per se. I know Russell Brand talks briefly about decentralizing, but he's a bit wishy-washy. He doesn't like, it's just a bit of like oration, you know, it sounds good, but like practically, decentralization, and like, you know, you can't get more practical than a distributed ledger, like a blockchain. It's an actual decentralized network where it has a function, it has a purpose, and it actually works. And so you know, the political philosophy of decentralism is just the recognition that given time, all centralized systems will end up being tyrannical in some way. And so decentralism as a sort of a political philosophy is essentially like a self-protective system against that eventuality. And so I don't know any more than that. There's a book that I want to read, which is called The Decentralist. It's by Max Borders, who has agreed to come on this show, by the way, at some point. But he can come on any time, but I want to read his book first. Yeah, I've read one of his other books, and he's an advisor on the Kingswell Project. Like, I read one of his books. I reached out to him. We got talking. He was the co-founder of an event, like a conference, a summit over in America called Future Frontiers, and it was amazing. And yeah, I reached out to him, and we got talking. We jumped on a few calls together, and I was at the time working on this idea for a decentralized truth-generating journalism platform called Thermesia, which eventually got called Veritri. But that's when the stress of that made me ill. And yeah, so we were talking about like the how can you just we're talking about like the how do you discern what's true, and I was explaining my decentralized system. Do you guys want to see something nuts? So I just mentioned that I got ill, so I just quickly brought something up. So let me see if this is going to work. Hang on. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Okay. So this, well, you remember I said I got ill when I was working on this this truth platform, and this is just this photo I'm about to show you is 2020. I think it's 2020. No. Is it 2020? I think it's 2020. Right? And this is when I got ill. I just put this into Photoshop. I lost like 13 kilograms in weight in the space of a few months. I could hardly eat anything. And it's crazy. Let's not keep that on the screen for too long. Yeah. How crazy is that? How nuts is that? And the last 3 years since then has been an amazing journey of going back to health. But it was, people ask me like, Andy, what happened? And essentially a number of things, but ultimately the final thing was stress. Like, and I never knew stress could impact your body in that way and shut down my digestion and stuff. But the immense stress, I thought I was invincible. I thought people who said, I thought stress was just that thing like, I've got loads of work to do, this little kind of tension up here. No, where like stress is like deep, and if you at some point your body can just I had no idea. Fatima says, oh my, is that you? It was me. Yeah, just 3 years ago. I think it was about 3 years ago, 2020. That was taken in like three and a half, something like that. Yeah. Scott says, what was the guy's name who wrote the Decentralist book? Max Borders. Let me find it on Amazon now. I'll show you. I haven't read it yet. I've downloaded it on my Kindle, so I've bought it, but I still need to read it. Amazon. So we can. His last book was called The Collapse, or After Collapse. And his latest one is called The Decentralist. So that's The Decentralist: Mission, Morality and Meaning in the Age of Crypto. And before that he wrote After Collapse. Before that he wrote The Social Singularity. So that's what I read, because I was at the time when I first reached out to him, this is before Thermesia, in fact, or just on the tail end of I wrote a 60,000 word kind of thesis about how you could build a decentralized sort of governance infrastructure that would be a kind of a virtual nation. And this is way before everyone was talking about the metaverse. So in other words, given that we're moving towards a life situation where all of our digital bodies were not owned by us. Our bodies are owned by us, right? We have ultimate sovereignty over our bodies. But if we're living in a futuristic situation, metaverse, this is before people were talking about metaverses, we're living in a ecosystem that's owned by a corporation, and we have a body, which is our profile, our account, or our VR kind of whatever. Well, it's not. It's owned by a corporation, and we inside that world have to adhere to their terms of service, and we can be cancelled at any time. And so we were sort of technologically sleepwalking into an anti enlightenment. Into a sort of a world that was anti-enlightenment, those kind of enlightenment ideas where, the ideas that the individual, there's something divine about the individual, and therefore you have unalienable rights, which we've been sleepwalking into a world where that was kind of wasn't going to be a thing. And so I was working on this thesis for a decentralized nation, in a way. And man, I spent a whole year on that, And so when he wrote this book called The Social Singularity, it was very, very interesting. It says how decentralization will allow us to transcend politics, create global prosperity, and avoid the robot apocalypse. And he wrote this in 2018, and that's when I published this this whitelist, not whitelist. I called it a white paper, but it was 60,000 words. That's more than a white paper. But it was very naive in many ways. It's very, very technologically naive. So you can't get it now. There's some people who might still have it. But anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent again. Jesus. Okay, Gorik says, I especially like the idea of co-working and co-housing spaces. This might indeed lead to a better cooperation in our search for freedom. Yeah, it's so exciting. I love that idea. Me and a friend were talking about it. One of the investors and advisors in my the academy. I spend so much time in co-working, and I've lived in co-living spaces before. It's so cool. A place where you've got these like an apartment, there's a gym, and there's like shared kitchen and shared co-working spaces, and like, there's one here in Warsaw, and it's so cool. Now imagine if there was a network, a huge international ecosystem of these co-living spaces where, let's say, there's different tiers of memberships, and some of those memberships might give you cheaper flights, or kind of you can just go, do you know what, I fancy going to Barcelona, living and working in Barcelona. Do you know what, I want to pop over to Bali. And imagine that you've got like a network of these places to work, to live, to thrive, to connect, to play. And so to decentralize your life in a way that was security, and you knew that there's like safety in these different areas. So it's a big vision, and this is just the beginning. And then Scott says, who was the guy? Oh, I've asked that already. Who was the guy who wrote Decentralist book? I've been mostly talking. In fact, I've only been talking. I haven't even showed you guys Bitcoin. Anyway, I'm sure there's lots of little clips there that Martin can chop up and put in the social media. Oh, by the way, guys, go and check out our social media. Martin's been on point. He's been doing amazing. He's been like producing these really cool... I get confused which ones they're called. Reels, stories, shorts. I forget which one it is. He's going to be posting them on YouTube, but he's just been doing it on Instagram and TikTok. So go on Instagram and follow us on Instagram. It's just Decentralists. Oh shit! I'll find it now and I'll show you. Instagram Decentralists. Boom. There we are, look. And this is all Martin's work. So, yeah, Reels. So Instagram, they're called Reels. And, yeah, so this one here, has coming up to 9,000 views, which, considering we had like 1,000, 700, whatever. So this one took off in a really big way. So this is all Martin. Now I can't. Here we go. Do you know what is the biggest cause of traders failing, losing money? Let's turn this off. Trading against the trend. Is that a bad answer? Overconfidence. Can you guys hear that? Changing plan. These are all like good. Okay, I'm going to give it to Tony. Overtrading. Now these are all great. But people think that trading is something that you're doing all the time. And it's not. It's not a machine gun. It's a sniper rifle. Actual trading is cool, huh? About pay. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So, yeah, he's been doing a fucking amazing job. So if you're not following on Instagram, if you've got Instagram, if you give a shit about Instagram, then yeah, head over and follow. So it's just Decentralists. And if you're one of these chirpy kids with TikTok, you've got the TikToks, then we've got TikTok in the same name, Decentralists. So go over. If you're a spunky young kid with your TikToks, then follow us on TikTok as well. And Martin is going to be adding these to YouTube as well. And we've got a Facebook page. Not yet. We will do soon. We have, but it's not finished yet. And we're going to start adding these on Facebook and stuff. And this is still back from when I was in Krakow, because the background, you can see the Warsaw background. I've got these cool paintings behind me. So he's still kind of like going through, and there's lots of little kind of cool clips and stuff. So in the future, there'll be clips that won't just be talking about Bitcoin. There'll be clips talking about all the stuff I've been talking about now. We'll be talking about like, hey guys, so I've been looking at the best place to set up a company in order to legally minimize tax obligation. Here's the options we'll be looking at. We've been looking at Singapore and Dubai, and in fact, we could bring someone on the show who can talk about he's on the ground in Dubai, and here's why he thinks Dubai is great for relocating, let's say, your tax residency, and here's what you need to do. And we can have little like clips about talking about that. And let's say there is a great way to earn money online, and we bring someone on who's been killing it. Yeah, like I said, could be like setting up an Amazon store, or buying things wholesale from Alibaba, and and you get the idea. Like, we can do all kinds of cool, interesting stuff, and a lot of this stuff will be led by you guys, responding to what you guys want. If I do something and you're like, dude, that was wicked, more of that. Yeah, great. Oh yeah, so sorry, I'm just scrolling up. So Fatima, yeah, I followed. Nice. Scott says, watch the rise and fall of WeWork before you launch your co-working and co-living space. Interesting story of Adam Newman. Yeah, I haven't watched the documentary, but I've heard of it. But I know he did some really, really kind of weird things with the corporate structure. And obviously, when COVID hit, like, a co-working space business is a very dangerous business to have in a pandemic situation. Of which I think there will be another one. It's too profitable not for there not to be, for certain people. But yeah, I mean, given how can I put it, untrusting, or not liking having to trust certain governments and so not to do naughty things again, that would definitely factor into my decision process. But let's say there was a co-living space, and I mean, what business wouldn't be affected by lockdowns and all that kind of stuff? So, but WeWork, as an example, their entire business, as far as I understand, and maybe they've got other things, is people having subscriptions and being a member. But if we had a co-living ecosystem, that would be an outshoot of all the other things that we were doing. That if there was some kind of event and then the revenue dried up in that ecosystem, then all of the revenue from the other aspects of the business, like the academy and the King Silver platform, would more than protect us from that. That's kind of my thinking. So you are right. That's definitely something to definitely be careful of. But I haven't watched the documentary, so I don't know what kind of naughty stuff you got up to. But I'm interested. Is that a new documentary? Because I heard someone else talk about it. Tony says, very cool. Alpaca says, I'm now following on Instagram. You have 36.6 already. Yes, but I'm being honest, I actually repurposed this Instagram from another one I had, because like 4 or 5 years ago, about that, maybe 4 years ago, I was really hot on Instagram. I had multiple different accounts, and they were all, back when Instagram, like the thing you could do was have loads of like quotes, have like loads of quotes. And so I used to post loads of quotes, and I had one that was like self-development. There was one I had, which might be this one, which was called Up First, UP First. It was all about waking up early in the morning, and it all had these kind of like motivational quotes from famous people to wake up early. And it was the back when you could do the follow for follow strategy, where you can just follow loads of people and they would see you and they'd follow you back. And so this is a product that they're real people, but they are people who followed this. I think it was like a self-development account of some sort, I can't remember. And so I just repurposed it because I lost interest in helping people wake up early. So yeah, that's why it's got lots of followers. Cool. Okay, how long have I been going on for? It's almost 20 to 10, so I've got 20 minutes left. I know I haven't been going on for 2 hours, but because I was late again. But I can't go on for more than 10. I start getting sleepy. So I'm going to go on till 10, and I've got a phone call with a friend as well after 10. So. Did I make the volume higher? I think I did by accident. I think that's fine. Man, I'm loving this. I love this. You know, like, because podcast mics, they're called booms, right? These arms, the normal ones, they go up and down. They sort of hang in the screen, and they kind of just they get in the way. They look fucking ridiculous. And when I used to have a podcast years ago for this self-dev company, I used to have 4 of them in a room, and we didn't stream. This is before streaming, right? We just like when podcasting was really big. It's still big, but you know what I mean? It was like, that was the thing to do. And we had these big craned booms, and we weren't recording it visually on video. It was like, you know, audio only, so you couldn't see them. But if we were recording it, it was just these big old arms everywhere. But this is by L. You can't see it. It's just out of shot. But I could move it up. This thing here, right? And so it kind of goes underneath, and you can't see this big old obnoxious boom thing. And this is from Elgato, which is the same company that made this awesome Stream Deck, this like thing with all my buttons where I can do kind of sound effects and all kinds of. I can do whatever I want. I can encode. Remember the last time I talked about Evil Morty? And I can change scenes with this. If any of you who do live streaming or know about streaming, I can press this and it goes to this. Press this. Turn the chat on here. You know, it's so cool. It's really cool. It makes streaming like a joy. You know, same company. Elgato did that, and Elgato also did the video card, which is how you are able to see my screen on my Mac, because it comes in through an Elgato video card or whatever it's called. And so they made this awesome boom arm, which is kind of designed for streamers. They know that the traditional kind of arm just gets in the way of the camera, and you just sort of see someone hiding behind this fucking thing. So yeah, I love it. I'm not one for gadgets or anything, but I just love the fact that I can just move this around. Like before getting this, you guys might have seen I had the microphone stand, and you could hear all the tapping. You'd hear this whenever I was tapping on the keyboard and stuff, and now you can't really hear it because it's great. And it's only going to get better and better and better. Right, I'm done talking. You guys talk. I'm all talked out. What do you guys want to talk about? I suppose we can have a little look at Bitcoin, see what's going on. Oh yeah, that was the prediction. Not prediction. The hypothesis, the sort of the thing I was playing with yesterday. And so what's going on? Let's have a look. I suppose this upward movement, it's a little new movement, a little new movement there. So are we seeing this? By the way, do that. That's really satisfying. You've got to start loud and then go quieter. But it's really satisfying. Annoying to those who can hear you, but it's very satisfying. So are we seeing something like that? Again, I'm just doing this really quick. You know, are we seeing some kind of impulse, like an ABC? Is that an impulse? No, looks like that's a correction there. So like a W, X, Y, like W, maybe. So let's look at the let me go back on Rumble so I can see if anyone is saying anything. Oh, JT Dickman says the biggest issue with a huge decentralized network of living areas would be building it. $. Convincing the people with the billions to invest in these projects and showing them how they could profit. Sure, man. I mean, the best things aren't easy. I never said it'd be easy. I just said it's a vision I've got. We'll see. You know, one step at a time. It's not something I'm going to be working on now. You're right, that would be insane. Well, look, you start with one. You don't build an entire ecosystem. You start with one and you make that work. It's like McDonald's started with one outlet, one thing, and then you make a success of that one, so much so where you can now set up a second one, and then a third one, etc. You don't go, I'm going to create an ecosystem of co-living spaces. Let's work on all of them at the same time. No, we would have one. It's like, okay, where would my dream co-living space for me? Where would I want to live and work? And then you do that. And then you optimize, you change things, you learn from that one thing, and then you would set up another one, and then etc. So you are right, but I don't think it's good to let these doubts and worries stop you from taking action. Like, these are concerns you need to take on board. But no matter what you choose in life, no matter what direction you choose, if you've got ambitions to achieve great things, there's always going to be a million reasons why you shouldn't do it. There's always going to be a million possible things that can go wrong, and it's always good to play devil's advocate, and to it's in a lateral thinking circles, it's called black hat thinking. Put the black hat on and think, okay, why is this bad? What could go wrong? Why could this be you have to, that's very, very wise to do that, but that shouldn't prevent action. That to me, the vision wise, I would want that to exist. That's what I'm saying. I would want an international network of amazing, not amazing as in luxury, is that it's like only rich people could afford it. That's not what I mean by great. Just great, like well thought out ecosystem. Like, yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. Okay, back to Bitcoin, and then we'll wrap up. So, are we seeing? Because look, the quick wave count I did the other day. I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, that's down here. Okay. One, two, three. No, okay. That needs updating. That would have this as the 3 here. Okay, yeah, this all needs updating. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Okay. That's Minuet. JT says, key thing at the end, how can people profit on investing on the idea? Well, that's something that you propose to investors. And if you've got a business which has a solid revenue model, you can demonstrate if this was a project that was an outshoot of this decentralized community, then it's like, well, the marketing we've already got down, we've already got our international community of like 100,000, 1 million, whatever it is, people. Yeah, it's like anytime you pitch to an investor, and hopefully, with the academy and what we're doing, maybe we won't need investors. We'll see. But yeah, 100% you're right. It has to, if you're seeking investment, you have to have a solid proposal that proves to the investor that this is something worth investing in. This is something that's going to be profitable. You've thought of contingencies. You've got good numbers, and you've maybe demonstrated some traction. And I've got a little bit of experience of building pitch decks and looking for investment and things for the early iterations of King Silver. I've pitched in front of venture capitalists. I've spoken to VCs. And I've been involved with actually designing pitch decks for other people and obviously for myself. So I understand the process. Look, this, again, if we get to that point, then then we'll cross that bridge when it comes. Right now, that's like not even thinking about it. I'm focusing on what's right. I mean, I clearly am thinking about it because I just I shared it, but that's that sort of that visionary personality type. I can't not think about the big vision stuff in the future, but I have to go, okay, that's awesome, I'm inspired. Right now, let's just bring the vision back in and focus on what we need to do right now. What are the steps? What's like one thing I'm actually doing very recently is I've got my 10-year goals, my 3-year goals, 1 year, 3 months, month. So it's like, okay, let's bring this back. How are we gonna do this now, step by step? And so right now it's focusing on what we're doing right here with the Decentralists. And oh yeah, okay. So that's one more thing I forgot to mention. So the Academy, which was called King Silver Academy, is called King Silver Academy. We're going to be renaming, and it's going to be the Freedom Academy. The Freedom Academy. Okay? And the wave counting immersion, which I've already told you, I'm going to be breaking down into smaller courses. Not lots, just like the intro kind of crypto trading course, the edit wave principle course, market geometry course, and then we're going to finish off with an order flow course. There's going to be obviously more in the future. Those are the first courses inside the Freedom Academy. And so, yeah. Okay, Narnock 91. By the way, JT Dickman and Narnock, if you're not following yet, hit that follow button on Rumble, because yeah, you're welcome. I want you to join the community. And by the way, for those who are new, we have a community, and it's not on Discord, because I think Discord, you just get lost in like just tons of random Discords people join. So we've got our own community, and at the moment it is at kingsilver.network. And in fact, I'm going to quickly take you over there. And we are going to be moving to a new, it's going to be like something Decentralist something. But for now, oh, that's the wrong bloody thing. This is my Mac keyboard. So if I take you over here, there we go. And we go to King, type Andy, King. So I've got this tiny little joke keyboard, kingsilver.network or .net. And that'll take you to our network. And obviously I'm logged in, so here we are. And we've got all the different sections on the side. We've got our what is currently the King Silver Academy with our wave counting immersion course, and you've got the community stuff. You've got the down here. You've got the crypto stuff. This is where we where the Bitcoin wave counts is where I post my my wave counts for Bitcoin. What I think's happening, and people are commenting, and Zifa here is her, she's asking me what's going on here, and Janus often shares his Tony's stuff. So we're discussing what's going on with Bitcoin in here. So if you're interested in joining this what is now the Decentralist community, and this is going to be being renamed to the Decentralists network, then go to kingsilver.network and join us. And if you're not following so far on Rumble, hit follow. So Narnock91 says, is it better to trade during the weekend or during the weekdays? Or if you're setting your long and shorts correctly, it doesn't matter. In my experience, it doesn't matter. Crypto is something that is traded 24/7. As the world turns, you've got like the sort of the New York trading times, the London trading times, the Hong Kong trading times, etc. Like it's 24 hours a day, baby. And I've never, not that I've tried trading at like 4 a.m. or whatever, but I've never felt any kind of difference. The kind of trading that I've always done, and this is what I've taught, is more swing trading. And so the trades I would have open might start in the week and end like the next week, go through the weekend. So I've never been a focused day trader, so I've never had that like isolated window of trading. What's trading like Tuesday afternoon compared to Thursday afternoon, or Wednesday versus weekend. That's not the style I've done. I've looked for opportunities in price patterns, and then when I see it, I don't care if it's a Tuesday or a Sunday. That's when I go, and the trade might stay open for a few days or a week or whatever it is. So there's probably maybe some people in the community who can actually answer that for you, but I experientially can't answer that. There might be an answer. It might be for beginners better to trade on a certain day or a certain time. But yeah, I would say go into the network, into our community, go to kingsilver.network and ask around and see if there's anyone who has an answer for you. So, yeah, there we go. Let's go back into Bitcoin. What time is it? I've got 7 minutes left. All right. So, okay, I haven't got time to update this wave count, but according, like what we were talking about yesterday, is expecting a fourth wave, this is the correction. And so if this is an impulse correction, so an A, and then an A, B, C, D, E triangle correction here in the B, and then the C is an impulse, then, I mean, we're getting this kind of move up now. Which could that be? Could this be the fourth wave? So we've got a wave 1, 2, 3, and this is wave 4. Could that be what we're seeing? Or here's another idea. Because look, here's another idea. I'm going to play with another idea. What if we've got wave 1, 2, 3, and we've got an A, B, C, D, E triangle structure here, and this is a failed fifth. So let me get rid of these. Because this move up is very strong and impulsive. It doesn't look, well, this could be impulse, correction, impulse. So we could get, yeah, so okay, so we could be seeing W, X, Y, and let's see if we've got divergence between the price here. Let's bring this out a little bit. Not really. We're not seeing divergence there, and so this is very, very deep for a wave 4. So just to show you what I'm talking about, if this is wave 1, 2, 3. If this is a 4, look how close it's come to the 1. It's pretty unusual for a 4 to be this big compared to this. Now let's do a base channel just to see if to see what we get. I mean, that's still it hasn't gone under. As soon as it comes under here, that's when I get suspicious. That's when I kind of really lose confidence that this is still going on. So another hypothesis, and I can't expect to go any deeper than this for this wave count to be correct. If it goes deep at this and it gets down here below this, well, we know that for this wave count to be correct, it can't break this level, right? As soon as it breaks this level, it breaks the rules. Wave 4 cannot retrace into wave 1's territory. So, and it hasn't got any volume divergence yet. Hasn't got any RSI or any momentum divergence at all. So there's nothing with a divergence with momentum and volume telling us that this is ending soon. So another hypothesis is that the wave 3 was here and we had a B. Anyway, so the correction ended here. And then this is a failed fifth, like this. Just another hypothesis. Or a very sharp wave 2, and then we had an ending diagonal here. Because look at this. This is interesting. Look at this. Almost perfect. You guys see that? Correction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's interesting. And then, because look at this impulse breaks this, it looks quite impulsive, breaks this market structure and this market structure. It doesn't break this market structure. And then we get a clear, very clean corrective pattern down, and then a very strong move up in this direction. Let's do the Fibonacci extensions and see if we, first of all, for targets for the third wave. If new guys have no idea what I'm talking about, by the way, then not yet, but when I'm ready to take on new students in the academy, I'll let you know how you guys can do that. But right now, we're not ready for that. What am I doing? Oh, okay. Almost to there. Almost. And let's do the prophecy extension. Yeah, right up there. Okay. So if this is a wave 3, yeah, extended wave 3, that would be a very, very deep wave 4 retrace. Let's do a Fibonacci retrace on that. Yeah, it might even be to the 61.8. not quite. So yeah, very deep wave 4, if indeed that is a wave 4. And then let's do a Fibonacci trend-based 0. Oh shit. To the 3 and then to the 4, and that is going to be there. Oh shit. Well, if that is a failed fifth, it hasn't hit any Fibonacci levels, but it has reached the it's usually a minimum for a fifth wave, which is the 0.382. So I mean, this looks strong so far. But the other hypothesis is that it is still a very, very deep wave 4. And so I suppose we'll find out very soon, right? If it breaks down below what would be the base channel, and this would be a leading diagonal, by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not perfect by any means. Correction, and then what's the retrace on that, if that's a wave 2? Could be 707 maybe? 707? Yeah, 707 on the nose. Look at me. Aren't I clever? And then there's the wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 ending diagonal. Let's change the color of these. All right, that's 10 o'clock my time, guys. So that is it for today's Decentralist. So let me just finish up my thinking here, just to kind of like, you know, when we look at it tomorrow, we can see whether or not my thinking was completely worthless or not. So, so if this is correct, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, ending diagonal 5, and now that's an impulse 1, 2, and a 3 up. What's the implications of that? Well, that would mean that this is actually finished early, and we've started this. You know, this hypothesis has kind of begun early, and so that would be the C and the 4th wave there, and that would mean this would be our ending diagonal pattern there, and then we'd see if that unfolds. But again, this is the 4 hour, so when we jump on tomorrow, Wednesday, it's going to be like around here. So, you know, so if this is the beginning of a move up, then maybe by tomorrow, by tomorrow, if this is correct, we should see a nice break up into this volume area up here, you know, and then we've got 30,000 just up here, and this was from a potential like short opportunity that we didn't take. It was like a simulation idea. We can delete that. So we'll see, man. Let's have a look, see what happens by tomorrow. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for being with me. Thank you everyone who is new, whether it's on YouTube or the Twitchings or the Rumblings. Yeah, you guys are in at the ground floor. This is just the beginning. Give me a nice emoji if you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you are a Decentralist in the making or you already are. Thank you, NetBroker. Thank you, Chris. You're welcome. And thank you, Marcus. All right, I need 2 more. And then I'm going to fuck off. Because where I'm sleeping is, I say, across the city. It's like a 10-minute taxi. It's not a big deal. Thank you, Tony. I'm burping because I've got fizzy, sparkling water. I need one more smiley. Come on, I'm a smiley. I'm smiley emoji needy. I've had 4. I need my 5th. Thank you, JT. Good to see you here. It's nice to see. Nice to see. This is like the most chat I've seen in the Rumble chat. So you're very welcome, JT. Oh well, JT. That counts. I was asked after my 5th emoji, and JT took it home. Thanks, man. Wicked. Nice. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I will be back again. I was going to say at the same time tomorrow, but I was fucking late again today. I'm going to do my very, very best tomorrow to try and not be late. I'm going to try and be not just on time. I want to start exactly at 1:45. So, you know, we've got the intro for 15 minutes and then we can start with my beautiful face exactly on the hour. That's my goal. I'm going to do my very best to achieve it. And I think the best way of doing that is decentralizing my alarm system and my schedule, so I'm not reliant on me. I'm the weak node when it comes to organizing my time and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Same time tomorrow. Thanks for being here, guys. This has been another Decentralist, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.